In the year 1974, a team of amateur explorers ventured deep into Nevada's desolate high desert, following whispers of a cave system untouched since ancient times. What they stumbled upon would ignite one of the most controversial archaeological debates in American history. Beneath the layers of red dust and limestone, they uncovered massive skeletal remains, humanoid in shape, yet towering nearly 12 feet tall. Their skulls were elongated, their jaws broader than any known human fossil. At first, the discovery seemed destined to rewrite history, until government officials abruptly sealed the site, citing environmental protection concerns. What really lay hidden beneath Nevada's sands would soon be buried, both literally and politically. The cave, later referred to in leaked documents as Site 17, was located near Lovelock, Nevada, a region already steeped in indigenous legends of red-haired giants. Local Paiute oral traditions had long spoken of the Ctsh, a race of towering, warlike beings driven into the caves by tribal alliances centuries ago. When a 1974 team compared their findings with these myths, the parallels were chilling. The skeleton's reddish hair fragments, preserved by the arid climate, perfectly matched the ancient descriptions. But before deeper study could begin, military trucks arrived at dawn, removing every trace of evidence under armed escort. Eyewitnesses described the scene as surreal. Men in unmarked uniforms loading massive crates into black transport vehicles. The dig site was quickly declared off-limits to civilians, and the official record listed the cave as geologically unstable. Within days, the explorers' photographs were confiscated, and their names were scrubbed from local archives. Two members of the original team would later claim they were threatened by federal agents, told to forget what they saw. Yet fragments of the story leaked through local radio interviews and independent newspapers, sparking a firestorm of conspiracy and speculation. Archaeologists who briefly examined the bones before the shutdown noted something extraordinary. The femurs and skull dimensions didn't align with any known hominin species. Carbon dating placed them at roughly 7,000 years old, far older than any recorded civilization in North America. But before the data could be peer-reviewed, the samples vanished. The Smithsonian Institution denied ever receiving them, despite a chain of custody that pointed directly to their stored facilities. To some researchers, this was evidence of yet another cover-up, one designed to suppress anything that challenged mainstream human history. Behind the scenes, whispers circulated among academic insiders about a secret catalog known as the Restricted Anthropology List. Supposedly maintained by a network of federal institutions, it documented anomalous finds that could destabilize the accepted narrative of human evolution. If true, the Nevada giants would be among its most heavily classified entries. Those who dared to speak publicly about it often found their careers ruined. Yet, private letters exchanged between two Nevada State University professors hinted that the remains were not of this age, nor entirely human. By late 1975, the story of the Nevada giants had faded from national headlines, buried under political scandals and Cold War distractions. But in small desert towns, old-timers still remembered the trucks and the strange lights near the mountains that summer. Some claimed that even years later, the cave entrance was guarded by men posing as park rangers. Others spoke of strange vibrations in the ground, as if machinery was still operating deep beneath the desert floor. Whatever had been found there, it was clear someone wanted it forgotten. Independent researcher Helen Corder, a retired anthropologist, decided to investigate in 1982. Using old topographic maps and interviews with surviving witnesses, she pinpointed several sealed caves west of Lovelock. What she found confirmed the legends. Massive tool impressions embedded in the rock, and bones scattered in chambers filled with ancient ash. She documented everything, until her notes and samples were stolen from her motel room days before she planned to publish. The local sheriff called it a random burglary. Helen never believed that story, and neither did anyone who knew her work. In 1989, new evidence surfaced when a former Air Force engineer came forward under a pseudonym. He claimed to have assisted in transporting the giant remains to a secure facility near Groom Lake, the same region associated with Area 51. According to his testimony, the bones were stored in hermetically sealed crates labeled Bioanomaly Project 6. Inside, scientists reportedly conducted genetic testing that yielded non-human markers. Though his story was dismissed by authorities, the engineer produced a partial photograph showing a massive skeletal arm, far larger than any known primate species. As word spread through underground journals and early internet forums, the Nevada giants became a subject of fascination and fear. Skeptics dismissed the entire story as pseudoscience, while others insisted the suppression of evidence was proof of its authenticity. The debate soon shifted from archaeology to ideology. What did it mean if giants once walked North America? Were they an ancient species wiped out by natural catastrophe or by design? Some suggested they were survivors of a forgotten civilization, remnants of a pre-flood world erased from official history. Today, half a century later, the legend of the Nevada giants endures, a forbidden chapter of history that refuses to die. Desert explorers still venture into the Badlands, searching for hidden entrances, and satellite imagery occasionally reveals sealed tunnels matching old maps. Whether myth or suppressed reality, the story continues to haunt historians and truth seekers alike. For those who've seen the classified photos, and there are a few, one thing is certain. Something massive once lived beneath Nevada's sands, and its existence was never meant to be known. By 1991, whispers of Project 6 resurfaced in declassified fragments of government reports related to subterranean biological studies. Though most pages were redacted, a few phrases stood out: osteological anomaly, non-standard DNA helix, and containment priority level 4. Independent journalist Mark Delaney tracked the paper trail to an abandoned military archive in Carson City, where he found torn pages referencing the Lovelock specimens. Before he could publish, Delaney vanished during a drive through the desert. His car discovered days later, doors open, camera missing, and radio still crackling with static. Locals in the Lovelock Basin began reporting strange occurrences around the same time. Low-frequency vibrations at night, and mysterious aircraft hovering without sound. Ranchers claimed their livestock disappeared near old mining shafts. Some believed the government had resumed secret excavations to retrieve what remained of the buried giants. A retired geologist later revealed he'd seen borehole maps from 1974 showing tunnels descending hundreds of feet beneath the original cave. What were they digging for? Or into? Whatever it was, the maps were classified only a month after being drawn. In 1994, a Nevada television crew attempted to film a documentary on the legend. Halfway through production, they captured what they described as unexplained structural ruins deep in a sandstone ridge. The footage showed massive pillars carved with symmetrical patterns, unmistakably artificial. Yet before the episode aired, the network abruptly pulled the project, citing licensing conflicts. The entire crew was forced to sign non-disclosure agreements. A junior cameraman leaked a single still frame to a local paper. It showed a shadowed hallway large enough for something twice the height of a man. Around the same period, the Bureau of Land Management issued a sudden expansion of protected territory around Lovelock. The official reason was wildlife preservation, but the restricted zone coincided precisely with the coordinates marked by early explorers. Some journalists questioned the timing. How could an area with almost no recorded wildlife suddenly require federal protection? When one reporter pressed for answers, her press credentials were revoked. Others who attempted to cross the perimeter described strange radiation readings, as if something beneath the desert still emitted energy. By 2001, internet forums dedicated to forbidden archaeology were buzzing with speculation about the Nevada Titans. Amateur researchers compared photographs of Lovelock's terrain with satellite imagery, identifying what appeared to be air vents disguised as geological features. One image, captured by a high-altitude drone, showed heat signatures consistent with subterranean machinery. Despite efforts to debunk it, the U.S. Geological Survey quietly deleted several of those data points from public archives within weeks. The more the evidence disappeared, the louder the legends grew. Meanwhile, a breakthrough came from an unlikely source, an elderly Paiute historian named Martha Winnemucca, who claimed her grandmother had been present when tribal elders sealed the last of the giant caves. She recounted ancient tales passed down through generations of red-haired beings who once ruled the valleys, consuming both animals and men, until the tribes united to trap them underground. "We thought they were gone," she said in an interview, "but the ground still remembers their bones." Her words reignited both curiosity and fear. In 2008, drone exploration technology advanced enough for independent teams to begin scanning the Lovelock region without entering restricted zones. One group detected massive hollow structures beneath the sand, perfectly cylindrical chambers connected by narrow corridors. The findings suggested an artificial construction, not a natural cave system. The data briefly appeared in an open-source research database before it was removed for national security reasons. The following week, the lead geologist's home was reportedly raided by unidentified agents. He never spoke publicly again. Throughout the 2010s, a new generation of truth-seekers revisited the Nevada mystery. Some used LiDAR imaging and ground-penetrating radar, uncovering geometric voids and patterns resembling burial catacombs. The dimensions of these chambers matched early reports of the 1974 cave, but much deeper. Those who studied the data noticed something even stranger: faint metallic readings beneath the bone layers. Were these tools, armor, or remnants of a civilization advanced enough to forge metal long before recorded history? If true, the implications were staggering. Whistleblower testimonies began to surface again in 2017. One anonymous source claiming to work within a federal heritage preservation unit released a short transcript. The specimens were never destroyed. They were relocated. Their DNA does not match Homo sapiens sapiens. The structure of their bones suggests atmospheric conditions incompatible with modern Earth pressure. The file was labeled Project Genesis 6. Biblical scholars noted the reference: the ancient Nephilim, said to be giants in the earth before the flood. Theories of divine hybridization, extraterrestrial contact, and suppressed prehistory flooded the digital realm. Today, researchers still debate whether the Nevada giants were myth, mutation, or message. Some believe they were evidence of an ancient race wiped from existence. Others think they were early experiments of something far more advanced. The desert remains silent, its winds sweeping over sealed caves and forgotten secrets. Yet every so often, a hiker claims to find strange bone fragments or massive footprints fossilized in the rock. Perhaps the truth isn't buried forever. Perhaps it waits for someone brave enough to unearth it again. In early 2020, satellite reconnaissance programs inadvertently reignited the mystery. Analysts examining mineral compositions in Nevada's arid regions noticed an anomaly, an area where the sand reflected unusually high magnetic resonance, forming geometric lines. When zoomed in, the outlines resembled concentric circles, like a buried amphitheater. Comparing it to ancient layouts found in Mesopotamia and Peru, researchers saw impossible correlations. Yet, before any expedition could be approved, the coordinates were reclassified under Department of Defense jurisdiction. Once again, the trail went cold, and the circle of silence widened. That same year, a Declassified Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, request released an obscure 1975 report titled Lovelock Anthropoid Study, Phase 1. Only 5 pages survived, but one line stood out. Specimens exhibit genetic drift incompatible with Homo sapiens lineage, evidence of gigantism induced by pre-flood atmospheric density. The mention of pre-flood sparked outrage in academic circles. Biblical language had no place in federal research. But for independent archaeologists, it confirmed what they had long suspected. Someone inside the system believed these beings weren't human at all, but remnants of an ancient world wiped clean by cataclysm. Across Nevada, the legend began to take root among new generations. Desert hikers shared stories of giant footprints turned to stone, while local miners unearthed oversized tools in the dry lake beds. Skeptics dismissed the findings as hoaxes, yet some objects were verified as centuries old, their metal composition containing traces of iridium and titanium, both rare in ancient metallurgy. Theories multiplied. Could these giants have mastered an unknown technology before being erased from existence? If so, what force was powerful enough to destroy them? One of the most haunting discoveries came in 2022, when drone footage revealed what appeared to be petroglyphs carved into a canyon wall. Figures of enormous beings standing among smaller humans, their hands raised toward the sky. The symbols, when translated by linguist Dr. Ava Chun, referenced those who fell from the light and the keepers beneath the dust. Chun proposed that the art was not mythic but historical, an ancient record of contact between two species. Weeks later, her research lab at the University of Reno mysteriously caught fire, destroying every artifact in her possession. The fire was ruled accidental, yet security footage from that night vanished from university archives. Dr. Chun herself went into seclusion, declining all interviews. Rumors swirled that she had salvaged a single stone fragment, one etched with what she described as a mathematical code far beyond primitive understanding. It contained ratios aligning with astronomical distances between Earth and Mars. Could the giants have possessed celestial knowledge? Or were they messengers from beyond our world, teaching early humans before vanishing beneath the desert? By 2023, independent journalist collectives began pooling resources to reinvestigate the original 1974 cave. Using open-source data and crowdsourced maps, they uncovered forgotten land deeds pointing to private mining claims linked to shell companies, all tracing back to defense contractors. The implication was clear. Whatever was found there had not only archaeological value, but technological potential. Several whistleblowers hinted that bone samples contained trace isotopes of rare Earth elements, the same materials used in advanced propulsion systems. The connection was staggering. At the same time, a group of retired Air Force pilots released testimonies about a secret 1970s recovery mission codenamed Operation Red Sand. According to them, it wasn't just bones that were recovered, it was machinery. One pilot described a chamber of gold-colored metal, filled with glyphs resembling circuit patterns. Another mentioned a giant sarcophagus, carved from a single piece of quartz-like crystal, humming faintly even after centuries. Their claims, though unverifiable, matched earlier reports from the suppressed 1974 expedition logs. Those logs, leaked online in fragmented form, described the moment the first skeleton was uncovered. The team noted that the bones emitted a faint luminescence under ultraviolet light, a phenomenon never documented in human remains. When touched, some fragments reportedly caused short-lived electronic interference, disrupting nearby radios. Skeptics called it exaggeration, but electromagnetic tests conducted years later on similar fossils confirmed one thing. Nevada's caves are rich in naturally conductive minerals. Whether coincidence or design, the environment seemed to preserve the giants in an almost technological tomb. By 2024, researchers began noticing eerie synchronicities. Seismic readings around Lovelock indicated faint, rhythmic pulses, too regular to be natural. One study concluded the vibrations originated from a consistent depth, nearly 800 feet below the desert floor. It was as if something mechanical still stirred beneath the ancient rock. Government agencies dismissed the findings as equipment error, yet shortly after, the area was closed again for geological assessment. Witnesses reported unmarked helicopters circling the site at night, scanning with high-intensity beams. Today, the myth of Nevada's hidden giants sits at the crossroads of science and forbidden history. Some call it America's greatest archaeological deception, others the last remnant of a forgotten age. What's certain is that every attempt to expose the truth ends in silence. Files erased, witnesses vanished, evidence burned. The desert keeps its secrets well, whispering them only to the wind and the bones buried beneath. And perhaps that's the greatest mystery of all. Not if the giants existed, but why someone worked so hard to ensure the world never remembers they did. As 2025 approached, a new wave of researchers began exploring the Nevada mystery through a different lens: genetic archaeology. Dr. Elias Monroe, a molecular anthropologist from Oregon, claimed to have secured a bone shard from a private collector allegedly tied to the 1974 dig. Testing revealed anomalies in the DNA helix, an extra pair of base sequences unseen in modern humans. It's like the genome was engineered for something greater, Monroe stated in a private symposium. Days later, his lab was raided by federal agents, citing biohazard violations. Both the shard and the data were confiscated. Soon after, Dr. Monroe vanished. His colleagues reported that he had grown increasingly paranoid, speaking of voices in the wind and dreams of enormous shadows beneath the desert. A week before his disappearance, he mailed a sealed envelope to a trusted journalist. Inside was a single microfilm labeled Project Genesis 6, Nevada sequence. The journalist never revealed its contents, only saying it showed proof of a manipulated species. That night, her apartment caught fire, the second suspicious blaze connected to the Nevada case in less than 3 years. Meanwhile, Nevada locals continued reporting unexplainable phenomena near the restricted zones. Tremors without seismic cause, drones malfunctioning midair. A hunter described stumbling upon a half-buried stone doorway etched with geometric carvings. When he returned with friends, the doorway had been covered by fresh rockfall, as if nature itself had swallowed it overnight. "The mountain moves," he told a local paper, trembling. His story was dismissed as desert hallucination, yet satellite imagery confirmed a visible change in terrain at the coordinates he provided. Within academic circles, a growing number of historians began revisiting suppressed indigenous sources. Paiute scrolls and oral accounts describe battles not between tribes, but against those who towered. These beings, said to have consumed human flesh, were ultimately driven underground in a final siege of fire and smoke. Linguists translating these stories noted uncanny precision. References to geographic landmarks, mineral types, and astronomical events dated accurately thousands of years prior. Could myth be memory, encoded through time? In Washington, D.C., the issue resurfaced during a Senate subcommittee meeting on anomalous archaeological discoveries. A whistleblower testified anonymously that non-human remains were indeed recovered in 1974 and that their morphology matched documented pre-flood beings in restricted theological research. The testimony was swiftly redacted from public transcripts. Still, the leak reached several independent media outlets, sparking renewed interest. If this is true, one reporter wrote, then the Nevada desert is not just an archaeological site. It's a burial ground for an erased chapter of Earth's evolution. Further intrigue came when radar imaging from the European Space Agency detected unusual voids beneath Nevada's basin, symmetrical and massive, measuring nearly half a mile in diameter. NASA geologists attributed them to lava tubes, yet independent analysts disagreed. The walls appeared reinforced, not natural. One report suggested metallic lining deep within. For a moment, public attention turned sharply toward the desert, demanding transparency. Then, curiously, the data vanished from public databases, replaced by a software error message that never received clarification. That same summer, a retired military logistics officer revealed under anonymity that he had seen a train convoy in 1974 carrying sealed containment pods westward from Lovelock toward California. Each pod required temperature control and emitted a low-frequency hum. The officer described personnel wearing full-body lead suits, similar to radiation protection gear. When asked what was inside, a superior replied, "They were never alive, but they were never dead either." His account raised the most terrifying question of all. Were the giants truly extinct? The possibility that these beings might have been preserved, even reanimated, triggered a storm of speculation online. conspiracy forums overflowed with theories about secret bioengineering programs, human giant hybrids, and underground labs continuing Project Genesis 6. While most dismissed these claims, an unverified video circulated showing a massive humanoid figure submerged in liquid inside a containment tube. Though proven doctored, it reignited the same question that haunted researchers for decades. What happened to the skeletons from a 1974 discovery? Evidence continued to surface in fragments. A former museum curator from Reno confessed that she once cataloged a femur nearly 5 feet long, before Smithsonian officials ordered its temporary transfer for study. It was never returned. When she tried to contact them years later, her inquiry was met with silence. In a private interview, she said, "It felt like the story was being rewritten in real time, and all we could do was watch history disappear." Her confession was the last she ever gave publicly. She died 3 months later under mysterious circumstances. Today, amid the endless dunes and skeletal ridges of the Nevada desert, one can still feel an uneasy presence, as if the earth itself guards its own forbidden memory. Scholars, soldiers, and wanderers alike have searched for answers, yet every path leads deeper into silence. Whether the giants were myth, experiment, or divine remnant, one truth remains: something colossal once lived and died beneath these sands. And if the winds could speak, they might whisper the one question humanity has never dared to answer. What if extinction was never the end? By 2026, whispers of a new expedition began circulating within underground archaeology forums. A coalition of independent researchers, ex-military scouts, and indigenous historians formed what they call the Lovelock Initiative. Their goal: to locate the original cave from 1974 and document it before authorities could intervene. Using thermal drones, they identified a fissure hidden beneath collapsed sandstone. Initial footage revealed what appeared to be smooth, arched tunnels descending into darkness, eerily similar to descriptions from the original dig logs. Within days, their live feed went offline, and the team's GPS tracker stopped transmitting altogether. When 2 members resurfaced weeks later, they were visibly shaken and refused interviews. One was hospitalized for acute radiation burns, though no source of exposure could be identified. The other simply muttered, "It's not dead, it's waiting." They vanished shortly after release. The footage recovered from a backup drive showed only brief, flickering images, walls inscribed with glowing symbols, and what looked like a massive ribcage fused into the rock itself. Experts debated whether the footage was real or digitally altered, but one frame, showing a skeletal hand the size of a man's torso, silenced many doubters. Meanwhile, in Las Vegas, a retired geophysicist named Dr. Claude Marin presented a shocking hypothesis. After analyzing decades of regional seismic data, he proposed that the subterranean caverns beneath Lovelock were not natural but resonant chambers, engineered to amplify sound frequencies. These frequencies, he claimed, could manipulate biological matter. Imagine a civilization that could move stone, bend metal, or even preserve life using vibration alone, he told a small crowd. Days later, Marin's research files were seized by unknown agencies, and he disappeared from public life. The public began connecting dots that authorities had long ignored. Ancient myths of giants appear not only in Paiute legends, but also in global traditions, from the Anakim of Canaan to the Nephilim of Genesis. Across continents, the same themes echoed. Towering beings who ruled before a great flood, then vanished beneath the earth. Could Nevada's giants be remnants of a shared, global catastrophe? A genetic branch of an ancient race that once walked among humans, only to be buried and forgotten as myth overtook memory? In late 2026, leaked emails from a defense contractor hinted at something extraordinary. Codenamed Operation Vaultfall, the project involved subterranean anomaly stabilization beneath restricted Nevada zones. Internal memos referenced biostructural preservation and morphological containment. One line stood out: Phase 3 protocol activated. Biological interface remains stable. If authentic, this suggested that the remains, or whatever they had become, were not entirely inert. The leak was swiftly suppressed, but copies of the emails circulated on encrypted forums, fueling speculation that the government had reawakened something ancient. Religious scholars entered the discussion, noting eerie parallels between these reports and ancient apocryphal texts. The Book of Enoch described giants imprisoned beneath the earth until the end of days. Could the Nevada caverns be one of those prisons? The implication was chilling, that these beings weren't just prehistoric but pre-human, a remnant of a time when the earth itself was different. Mainstream academia ridiculed the idea, but growing evidence of suppressed discoveries made skepticism harder to sustain. Journalist Maya Trent, who had covered military secrecy for decades, published a daring exposé titled "The Bones That Never Died." She connected witness reports, geological data, and financial records linking military funding to archaeological suppression. Her investigation suggested that recovered DNA samples were being used in classified medical research. 3 days after publication, her article vanished from every major platform. Her website went dark, her email accounts were deleted, and her colleagues reported her missing. Authorities claimed she left the country voluntarily. No one believed them. By early 2027, global interest in the Nevada giants reached a fever pitch. Documentaries, podcasts, and online movements demanded full disclosure. In response, the Department of the Interior issued a brief statement. There are no active investigations or credible evidence supporting claims of anomalous remains in Nevada. But insiders whispered that behind closed doors, several agencies had convened emergency meetings after seismic sensors near Lovelock recorded deep subterranean movement, rhythmic and deliberate. It's like something breathing, one technician confided anonymously. Amid the chaos, an unlikely source stepped forward, a retired Smithsonian archivist. He claimed to have personally handled a massive skull in 1974, stored in a wooden crate-marked specimen 4580, restricted anthropology. According to him, the skull was nearly twice the size of a human's, with pronounced cranial ridges and thick bone density. He said it felt alive, as if humming faintly. It was warm, he whispered. Bones aren't supposed to be warm. Days after his televised interview, he suffered a fatal heart attack under what police called non-suspicious circumstances. As the 21st century marched forward, the Nevada desert remained both grave and guardian. Tourists passed through unaware that beneath their tires lay the remnants of a story older than civilization itself. Scholars avoided the topic, governments denied involvement, and the sands continued to shift, burying truth beneath silence. But the myth of the giants refused to die. Like an echo trapped in the stone, it calls to those who still listen, reminding humanity that not all bones rest easy, and some histories will not stay buried forever. In 2028, the story took an unexpected turn when a classified memo surfaced from within the U.S. Geological Survey. It referenced an unexplained structural breach in one of Nevada's restricted cave zones following a minor earthquake. Satellite imaging confirmed a massive sinkhole had opened, and then mysteriously sealed itself within 48 hours. Locals reported thunderous sounds beneath the desert and flashes of red light illuminating the night sky. One witness swore he saw a figure, enormous and glowing, emerge from the dust before vanishing into the storm. Soon after, airspace above the Lovelock Basin was closed without explanation. Residents received letters instructing them to evacuate temporarily for geological safety assessments. But no seismic activity was recorded in public databases. Drone footage leaked days later showed convoys of armored vehicles heading toward the restricted zone. Their cargo containers emitted faint blue light, visible even through thick dust. Military officials dismissed the footage as digitally manipulated, yet independent analysts confirmed its authenticity. Whatever happened that week, something enormous moved beneath the earth, and the government moved with it. By 2029, several global research institutions began expressing interest in the Nevada phenomenon. Russian, Chinese, and European scientists reportedly requested cooperation with U.S. agencies for joint excavation rights. All were denied. A leaked UN memo described the Nevada caves as a potential biocultural threat. The phrasing baffled linguists. What exactly was a biocultural threat? Some believed it referred to genetic contamination, that remnants of the giant's DNA could alter humanity's biological equilibrium if released. Others feared something far simpler, the truth. In a confidential documentary recorded before her disappearance, journalist Maya Trent's final words resurfaced online. The giants were not the first civilization. They were the remainder of another. They didn't die. They were entombed, and the tomb was designed to keep them from waking. The footage ended abruptly, showing coordinates over a desert ridge. Internet investigators traced them to a spot 20 miles from the 1974 dig site, precisely where the 2028 sinkhole was reported. Within a week, the video was removed from every major platform, its re-uploads blocked worldwide. Meanwhile, geological anomalies continued to increase. Instruments recorded low-frequency vibrations emanating from the basin at fixed intervals, every 8 hours and 37 minutes. Experts theorized mechanical activity, though no machines existed that deep underground. A few proposed a far stranger possibility, that the resonance was biological, like a massive heartbeat. It seemed impossible, yet data from 3 independent universities confirmed identical readings. Something beneath Nevada was alive or awakening. The revelation sparked panic within certain academic and religious circles. Ancient texts once considered allegorical were being re-examined with newfound urgency. The Book of Giants, discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls, described titans chained within the hollows of the earth, bound until the appointed time. Scholars who once dismissed such verses now found uncomfortable parallels. Could the Nevada giants represent not a discovery, but a countdown? A sign of history looping back upon itself, as if the past had been waiting beneath us all along? Despite mounting evidence, official denial intensified. Journalists investigating the 1974 team's descendants discovered sealed, non-disclosure contracts renewed every decade, suggesting ongoing federal oversight. The few family members willing to speak recalled strange men visiting over the years, warning them to stay silent for their own good. One descendant shared a chilling artifact, a brass identification tag stamped Genesis 6:001. She had no idea what it meant, only that her father received it the day he returned from Lovelock, pale and terrified. As public fascination grew, Nevada's tourism industry capitalized on the legend. Giant country, tours, novelty museums, and fictional documentaries flourished. Yet, in the midst of the spectacle, genuine researchers noticed new federal fencing, motion sensors, and surveillance drones deployed near previously open desert stretches. When questioned, officials claimed they were protecting endangered wildlife. Ironically, the restricted zones corresponded exactly to areas identified in leaked archaeological maps. Beneath the laughter of tourism, silence thickened, the kind that hides something monumental. In 2030, a massive solar storm briefly disabled several satellite networks. During the blackout, amateur radio operators intercepted strange transmissions on restricted frequencies. The signals repeated rhythmic pulses followed by a single word in distorted English. Remember, linguists and cryptographers analyzed the audio, concluding it was not human speech, but synthesized, possibly generated from beneath the surface using seismic vibration. Within hours, the frequencies went dark, and federal agents visited the radio operators, warning them to destroy their recordings. Some refused. Those who did found their homes raided days later. By now, it was clear that the Nevada story was no longer a legend. It was an unfolding enigma shaping global consciousness. Scientists, theologians, and conspiracy theorists all agreed on one fact. Something lay beneath that desert, vast and deliberate. Whether it was the bones of an ancient race, the remnants of forbidden technology, or the slumbering echo of humanity's creators? No one could say. But as the ground trembled once more under the crimson Nevada dusk, the world realized this wasn't history. It was prophecy slowly awakening from the dust. By mid-2030, satellite imaging from independent researchers revealed something extraordinary: geometric heat patterns across the Nevada basin. When overlaid with 1974 excavation maps, the shapes formed a vast spiral spanning nearly 7 miles. Each glowing segment pulsed with synchronized intervals, as though responding to a signal from deep below. Geologists dismissed it as geothermal irregularity. Yet an astrophysicist from Prague claimed the rhythm matched radio patterns observed from pulsars in deep space. The Nevada desert, it seemed, was whispering in a cosmic language, one older than stars. Government officials scrambled to contain the narrative. The U.S. Department of Energy announced a new geothermal research initiative, immediately cordoning off the entire region under military protection. But field scientists reported strange side effects near the restricted perimeter. Compasses spun erratically, drone batteries drained within minutes, and voices echoed back delayed, as if time itself hesitated. One camera captured a silhouette 3 times the height of a human, briefly illuminated by lightning before fading back into the dust. The footage vanished before networks could verify it. Historians began connecting dots long overlooked. Indigenous Paiute legends spoke of red-haired giants who once ruled the valley, the CTCH, and how their final war ended in fire and stone. The 1974 skeletons, some claimed, were proof of those oral histories. Yet tribal elders warned outsiders. They were not gods, and they were not dead. They were sealed because they could not die. The warning went unheeded. Curiosity, once again, outweighed caution, and history prepared to repeat its most dangerous chapter. Deep underground, seismic readings began to show movement, gradual but undeniable. It was as though massive structures were shifting beneath layers of limestone. Dr. Keller's former assistant, now a senior researcher, leaked internal data revealing temperature spikes within the sealed caverns. "It's not tectonic," she wrote in a hidden forum. "Something is generating heat." Her post was deleted hours later, and her university email was deactivated. When journalists tried contacting her, they were told she'd taken an extended sabbatical. No one has seen her since. In the following months, bizarre phenomena gripped the area. Livestock refused to graze near the basin. Flocks of birds migrated in perfect circles above the restricted zone, as if trapped by an invisible field. Locals described dreamlike visions, cities of gold, colossal gates of obsidian, and a blinding figure calling their names. Psychologists labeled it collective hysteria, yet brain scans of affected individuals showed synchronized neural patterns, identical in every subject, as though they were dreaming the same dream. Then came the blackout. Entire counties across northern Nevada lost power for nearly 4 hours. During that time, eyewitnesses reported red lights hovering low over the desert, silent, triangular, and immense. One rancher filmed what appeared to be a column of dust rising straight from the ground, glowing from within. When power returned, his video was gone, replaced with static. He later received an unsigned letter containing only one sentence: "Do not record the awakening." International attention mounted. News agencies worldwide demanded transparency, and whistleblowers emerged claiming the discovery was anthropological in origin, but non-human in nature. One document described a bioconstruct containment breach. Another mentioned reactivation of nephilic tissue. The terminology baffled experts. Only one thing was clear: the Nevada caves housed something capable of biological reanimation, and the world's most powerful governments were racing to control it. The silence that followed was louder than any confirmation. In a quiet lab in Zurich, a geneticist anonymously published a sequence online, claiming it was extracted from one of the Nevada samples. The DNA structure, however, contained fragments no human genome should possess. Base pairs arranged in mathematical ratios resembling Fibonacci sequences. It was, biologically speaking, engineered perfection. Within 24 hours, the data was scrubbed from every scientific database. But before deletion, over 1 million people downloaded the sequence. Humanity, for the first time, held a piece of something older than itself. Public curiosity turned to fear. Online forums became digital battlegrounds. Believers, skeptics, and government agents all clashing over fragments of truth. Yet amid the noise, a pattern emerged. Sightings of tall, glowing figures walking the desert at night. Witnesses described them as neither fully physical nor spectral. Translucent forms radiating amber light. One trucker swore he saw a figure kneel beside the highway and touch the ground, leaving behind a handprint fused in a solid glass. Scientists called it impossible. The evidence said otherwise. As 2031 approached, tremors beneath the Lovelock Basin intensified. Instruments recorded rhythmic pulses echoing like the slow breath of a sleeping giant. The desert's air shimmered unnaturally, as though reality itself was bending. Those who lived nearby began hearing deep, resonant tones in their dreams, the same frequency measured by seismographs. Then one silent night the tones stopped. The earth grew still, and for the first time in half a century, the Nevada wind carried no sand, no sound, only waiting. In early 2031, a scientific team operating out of Reno detected something extraordinary, an electromagnetic pulse rising directly from beneath the Lovelock Basin. It wasn't random. It was structured, layered, almost melodic. The frequencies mirrored ancient harmonic scales once used in Sumerian temple hymns. Linguists were stunned. Was this resonance a message, a memory, or something awakening from the deep? Within hours, the Reno facility lost power, and all data was confiscated by agents claiming to represent the Department of Defense. The event was never officially acknowledged again. Days later, several miners near Fallon, Nevada, reported hearing metallic chanting echoing through their tunnels. The sounds vibrated through the rock itself, forming words none could understand. One miner described it as a prayer too large for human throats. His recording, uploaded briefly online, lasted only 13 seconds before vanishing. Researchers who archived copies noted background tremors, not seismic, but rhythmic, as though something colossal beneath the desert was shifting in deliberate cadence, like a choir rehearsing in stone. Soon after, strange geological lights began appearing above the basin. Blue-white columns would rise from the earth, fade, then reappear miles away, forming symmetrical patterns across the night sky. Meteorologists struggled to explain them. They weren't lightning, auroras, or plasma discharges. One astrophotographer captured an image revealing an enormous, circular outline glowing faintly beneath the desert floor, as if an ancient mechanism was reactivating. The photo spread online for 3 hours before every instance was replaced with a federal takedown notice. At the same time, digital interference swept across Nevada's networks. Devices randomly displayed binary sequences interspersed with ancient symbols resembling Sumerian and Proto-Hebrew glyphs. Cybersecurity experts traced the interference not to satellites, but to localized ground sources, originating within the Lovelock Basin itself. When decoded, the binary revealed a repeating phrase, "Remember the makers." The message sent shockwaves through online communities, forcing even the most skeptical minds to reconsider. Were these giants truly remnants of human prehistory, or of something that made humanity? By mid-year, entire swaths of the desert were sealed off by newly erected 30-foot black barriers. Surveillance drones patrolled in silence. Independent pilots who attempted to fly overhead reported that their navigation systems failed instantly, as though space itself was being distorted. One pilot who managed to capture footage described it as a glowing wound in the world. He was detained hours later and never resurfaced. His footage, however, leaked briefly to encrypted forums, showing shadows moving inside the light. Religious leaders across the globe began addressing the phenomenon, calling it the Age of Unveiling. Some saw it as divine, others as apocalyptic. Biblical scholars revisited ancient texts describing beings of old, men of renown, sealed away for the sins of knowledge forbidden. Even the Vatican released a cautious statement acknowledging anomalous discoveries of significant theological interest. In hushed corridors, certain clerics whispered that the Nevada awakening might be the long-foretold return of the Watchers, those who once walked with humanity before being buried beneath the earth. Meanwhile, seismic sensors in Utah, Arizona, and California began detecting faint echoes from Nevada's core, as though vast subterranean chambers were resonating in unison. Engineers reported that frequencies were traveling through bedrock like ripples through water. One analyst called it planetary memory activation. Theories emerged suggesting that Earth itself might be responding, awakening with whatever was sealed beneath Lovelock. The lines between geology and mythology blurred, and for the first time in modern history, science trembled before the unknown. Then came the blackout of information. Every online mention of Nevada giants was algorithmically buried. Search engines returned 0 results. Journalists investigating the subject received anonymous emails with chilling warnings. Do not dig further. You are not meant to wake them. Yet whispers persisted. Leaked footage showed what appeared to be a massive humanoid silhouette, 15 feet tall, skeletal yet radiant, lying dormant under sheets of crystallized stone. Scientists who viewed the file described it as terrifyingly human. A few surviving members of the 1974 excavation team resurfaced to speak off-record. They claimed the caves they entered weren't natural, but carved with precision, like the corridors of a cathedral. Hieroglyphs told of a great flood, a rebellion of giants, and a covenant to bury them until the world forgets. One elderly member recalled seeing murals depicting figures entering starlit gateways, not dying, but traveling. They weren't buried, he whispered, trembling. They were preserved, waiting to be called home. By the year's end, night over the Nevada basin turned strangely luminescent. Satellites showed the entire desert glowing faintly, pulsing in harmony with those same subterranean frequencies first recorded months earlier. Observers across the state reported dreams of immense shadows rising beneath crimson clouds, speaking in a voice that shook the air itself. Governments denied everything, but humanity could feel it. The desert was no longer asleep. Whatever had been sealed away in 1974 was stirring once again, and the world's clock had begun to rewind. In early 2032, global weather patterns began behaving unpredictably. Storm systems formed directly above Nevada, unmoving, circling endlessly as if tethered to a pulse deep underground. Lightning struck the same coordinates night after night, igniting dunes into brief pillars of glass. Atmospheric scientists struggled for explanations, but tribal elders called it the Great Calling. According to their traditions, the giant's awakening would echo through the sky itself, the heavens announcing the return of those who once measured the stars by hand. Government scientists drilled core samples around the restricted basin, hoping to map whatever lay beneath. What they found defied logic. Layers of fused sandstone arranged in perfect geometric lattices, each layer alternating between organic and metallic composition. When exposed to light, the material emitted a faint hum. It's not rock, one geologist said. It's architecture. Weeks later, the research team vanished. Their camp, tools, and vehicles were discovered neatly arranged. But every data drive had been wiped clean, as if erased by invisible fire. By mid-2032, a series of synchronized earthquakes rippled across the American West. Shallow, rhythmic, and localized entirely within Nevada's subterranean grid. The tremors produced harmonic frequencies that matched ancient Babylonian tuning systems. Musicians recreated the tones digitally and discovered that the frequencies triggered vivid hallucinations of colossal figures standing in light. Those who listened for more than 2 minutes reported hearing whispered words, We remember. The recordings were quickly banned under the guise of public safety. In secret archives, researchers discovered an overlooked note in Dr. Keller's original 1974 field journal. Scrawled in pencil beneath a sketch of a giant skull were the words, "They breathe without air. Their sleep is sound." The implication was staggering. The giants weren't decomposed remains, but perfectly preserved biological forms, possibly in stasis. A chilling thought took root. The excavation hadn't uncovered fossils, but sleepers. The caves weren't tombs, they were containment chambers. That theory gained traction when a private contractor leaked footage showing one of the chambers from a classified dig. Inside lay a figure encased in crystalline amber, nearly 20 feet long. Monitors displayed faint biosigns, cellular regeneration at microscopic levels. "It's like the body's healing," whispered one technician in the recording. The footage abruptly cut to static. Hours later, the contractor's account was deleted and his family reported him missing. The official cause: work-related disappearance. Outside the restricted zones, the desert itself began to change. Plant life withered overnight, replaced by strange, red-veined growths sprouting in spiral patterns. Samples revealed unknown DNA, hybridized material that seemed to mimic both plant and human genes. Biologists theorized environmental contamination from the chambers, while others feared something worse: biological terraforming. The land wasn't dying. It was adapting, reshaping to sustain whatever was about to emerge. The air shimmered with static. Travelers along Highway 80 reported sudden disorientation, memory lapses, and visions of luminous beings walking beside their cars. One trucker captured dashcam footage of a towering silhouette pacing him for several miles, its eyes glowing amber in the mirror's reflection. "It wasn't chasing me," he later said. "It was guiding me, like it wanted me to see something." The next day, his rig was found abandoned, its engines still running, doors wide open, and the desert unervingly silent. Whistleblowers within the Pentagon confirmed that Operation Seraphim was officially underway, a containment protocol designed to neutralize subterranean biological anomalies. Satellite imagery revealed the construction of enormous steel domes across the Nevada basin, positioned directly above the suspected chambers. Energy readings from the domes spiked to unprecedented levels, suggesting an attempt to seal the awakening with electromagnetic fields. But eyewitnesses claimed the energy wasn't trapping the force below, it was feeding it. Across the world, seismic sensors began detecting similar pulse patterns beneath other regions. Turkey, Peru, Egypt, even beneath the ocean floor near the Azores. The Lovelock anomaly was no longer isolated. It was part of a global network reactivating simultaneously. Historians drew connections to flood myths, Nephilim legends, and megalithic alignments. The implication was staggering. These weren't random giants. They were remnants of a civilization that had once spanned the earth, now rising together after millennia of silence. And then, without warning, the tremors ceased. The sky above Nevada turned crimson at dusk, and a single beam of golden light erupted from the desert floor, reaching into the heavens like a celestial beacon. For 6 minutes, satellites captured the event before every orbiting camera went dark. When power returned, the beam was gone, but a new crater lay where the Lovelock Basin once stood, smooth and circular as if carved by design. Those who witnessed it swore they heard a sound unlike any thunder, a voice deep and sorrowful, whispering through the wind. "We are awake." In the days following the beam of light, Nevada was declared a national emergency zone. Satellite access was restricted globally. Civilian drones attempting to breach the perimeter were neutralized mid-air, their circuitry fused by unknown energy. From miles away, residents reported low hums vibrating through the soil, deep, resonant, and strangely rhythmic, like the heartbeat of the desert itself. At night, the sands glowed faintly beneath the moonlight, pulsing in tandem with that invisible rhythm, as if something vast beneath the surface was alive and listening. When the dust settled, reconnaissance teams deployed into the crater found no trace of the Lovelock excavation site, not even its foundations. The entire region had been glassed smooth, as if melted from below. But instruments detected something extraordinary, an enormous, perfectly circular cavity extending miles underground. At its center, suspended in midair by an unknown force, was a single monolithic object, black as obsidian, humming with low-frequency energy. Its surface bore markings matching those once found on the giant skulls in 1974. As scientists attempted to study the monolith, all electronic devices failed within seconds. Yet handwritten notes from the lead researcher described what happened next. The object is communicating, not through sound but through thought. It calls itself Anakim. It speaks of an age before time, when men were as tall as trees, and the earth's blood was still warm. Her final note ended abruptly. They are not returning. They never left. After that, her team vanished, leaving behind only pages covered in symbols no linguist could decipher. Across the globe, reports of luminous humanoid sightings multiplied. In deserts, mountains, and oceans, people claimed to see towering figures of light walking silently through storms. They left no footprints, only scorched impressions in rock, shaped like hands reaching upward. Governments denied everything, labeling the footage as atmospheric distortions. But in regions with ancient myths of sky gods and fallen watchers, the reaction was different. Priests, shamans, and monks gathered in unison, declaring that the keepers of the first fire had awakened once more. Meanwhile, an encrypted transmission surfaced online, allegedly from a former intelligence operative. The file contained Dr. Keller's missing recordings from 1974. In them, his trembling voice whispered, "We were never meant to find them. They were buried not as punishment, but as protection. If they wake, the world resets." Seconds later, the tape ended with the sound of distant, rhythmic pounding, like fists against the walls of the earth. Within hours, the video disappeared, its digital signature erased from every known server. The tremors returned, but this time, not localized. From Africa to Antarctica, instruments recorded synchronized vibrations pulsing through the planet's crust. Oceans churned without wind, compasses spun without magnets, and auroras appeared in skies far beyond the poles. It was as if the Earth itself was aligning, harmonizing with an ancient frequency, a frequency once buried in Nevada. Scientists had no explanation. The religious had one. The giants are calling to one another. Panic spread, but amid the fear came something unexpected. People across the world began dreaming the same dream. A vast desert, endless and golden, with 10 colossal figures standing motionless in the distance. Each held a flame that never burned out. When they moved, the ground trembled, and a voice echoed through the dream. "Remember who you were before the silence." Those who experienced it awoke in tears, their minds filled with images of cities of light, not in the heavens but beneath their feet. By 2033, Lovelock was permanently erased from public maps. The surrounding desert was renamed Zone Null, uninhabited, uncharted, forbidden. Yet satellite readings showed faint movements beneath its surface, expanding outward in slow, concentric rings. Geologists described it as subterranean growth. One philosopher called it the return of memory. Whatever was rising from the depths, it wasn't violent. It was patient, deliberate, as though the earth itself was remembering something humanity had long forgotten. Whispers spread through classified channels that one of the giants had been found outside Nevada, walking across the Mojave under a blood-red dawn. The being was described as neither flesh nor spirit, but a living echo, a projection of consciousness wearing the shape of its ancient body. When approached by a military drone, it simply looked upward and said one word that all recorders captured clearly before melting into light: "Forgive." Now, decades later, the Lovelock event remains buried beneath silence and censorship. But those who still search the desert at night say they can feel the hum under their feet, steady, eternal, like the heartbeat of something vast and unseen. They say the wind still carries whispers in forgotten tongues, and that sometimes when the stars align just right, you can see shapes walking along the ridges, tall, radiant, and ancient. The story of the Nevada giants was never about bones or myths. It was about memory, a memory too big for humanity to hold, finally stirring in the dust, reminding the world that the old ones never died, they only slept.